being followed. You can't be canceled if you haven't signed up.
What's up, guys? What is up? It's your boy Tyler Martin, comic book creator, founder of Godhood Comics, and apparently MAGA.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Yes, I am a huge Trump supporter, apparently, based on everything that's been going on. So what we're going to do in this video is address everything that has happened to us at Godhood Comics and myself over the past 30 days, 30 to 40 days. We're going to talk about the slander, the rumors, the allegations, things that you've probably heard, or if you have a life and a job, you haven't heard of. Last month, we were the target of slander by a bunch of Black comic book creators who were kind of upset and jealous of our success at Godhood. Specifically, when Comics Explained, Rob from Comics Explained did a review of our Antagonist comic, which is a huge success amongst the Black comic community, as well as independent comics in general. And all of this has taught me a lesson about where I am, who I am, what I want to be, and what I want Godhood Comics to be. It's been extremely eye-opening, but it's also proved something that I've been wanting to talk about for a long time. And I just feel this weight that's lifted, and that is the toxicity that resides in the Black comics community. I have long speaked it. I have long talked about it to a lot of friends and colleagues and mentees and that nature. But we're going to get into everything, how it happened, my thoughts on it, and kind of just go along the line of where we are now. Now, here's two things I want to say. I will never make a video like this again. I will never address allegations again. I will never talk about this incident again. I will never talk about politics. I will never talk about any of that unnecessary, useful stuff, because we're going to get back to the basics of creating comics. That's what we're here to do, to make good comics. And unfortunately, the guys that don't make good comics have an issue with us making good comics. Also going to talk about the mistakes that we've made, the mistakes that a lot of independent comic creators made. The second thing we won't be doing is I was going to get on here and I was going to name names, bash, compare and contrast, expose, call out other people who had kind of reached out, who have sent DMs and all of that. But we're not going to do that. This is going to be a video of accountability in its true sense. It's going to be a video about truth, and a video about honesty, which is highly missing in Black comics in general. And we'll get into that in a whole other video. So let's get into everything right now. Number one, I have released a full statement. You can check it out on our website at godhoodcomics.com. The link will be posted in the comments or on the display, where you can check out my full response on these allegations. I did learn that you cannot let people paint the narrative for you, because a lot of this is just so. I'm not a fan of social media. I'm not a fan of this current society, where I'm not a fan of cancel culture and all the. I just don't care. A lot of my colleagues, they will say, "Hey, man, you gotta release a statement. You gotta say anything," and I just never cared enough. I don't care about these people who feel this way, who have made these allegations. I don't care. So it's just hard to kind of, because I know what I am and I know what I'm not. And it's funny because all of my friends and family, they're like, "You're what? You're mad? You're the people that actually know me, the people who actually know my character. They were in shock that this was going on. All of these allegations are coming from people who I don't know. I don't know on a personal level. I haven't talked to them. They don't know me. A few guys who made videos, I didn't even know they existed, and they made videos highly detailed about who I was, things that I didn't even know. So it's all interesting. So first and foremost, am I a MAGA supporter? Am I Trump? Do I support Trump? Well, the short answer is no. I'm not a MAGA supporter. I've never been a MAGA supporter. In fact, missing from all these allegations and these screenshots and these videos are the countless of times, as you can see, that I have criticized Trump, his actions, condemned his actions. But on the other side of that, I'm neither a Democrat. Despise the Democratic Party. Not a Democrat at all. Didn't vote in this last election. Was not going to vote for Trump or Kamala. I think they both were absolutely horrible. No policies that benefit the Black community directly. Even Kamala even went on to say that there was nothing specifically she was going to do for the Black community. And that's what I look for. You vote for who you want to vote for. I'll vote for who I want to vote for. And hey, if you are looking for Black comic books and Black comic creators who are all Democratic and leftist and liberal, do that. And by all means, enjoy. But what we're not going to do is allow slander. And see, I find it another thing that I found so interesting in all of this and this cancellation is the lack of intolerance in tolerable people. On the side of tolerance, the lack of diversity in a people who champion diversity, right? The moment you don't think like them, the moment you don't adhere to what they adhere to, then you are the enemy, then you're shunned, then you're targeted. And so what it exposes true colors, my thesis of what the Black comics community is, unfortunately, what it has become. It wasn't like this when I first started. What it has become is the Black Democratic leftist liberal comics. That's what it's come. So before we get into that, I got to give a shout out to Comics Explained. I got to give a shout out to Rob because Rob is better than me. There is no way in hell that I would be apologizing for the type of content I put out. There is no way in hell I would have been forced and bullied to review comic books that I simply just don't want to review. It makes no sense. Now, obviously, we benefited out of him caving, and he got on and he reviewed The Antagonist because why would you not? It's a great comic book. Got a lot of following, a lot of attention, and that's where this whole thing comes from. Because, mind you, the people who were pushing this narrative have known that I wasn't a Democrat for years. You know, if there was a common sense party, that's what I would be. I'm for the common sense party. I want to bring back common sense, however that looks. And they've known all of this stuff. It wasn't until Rob made the video and that we were going viral. And Rob had already been being attacked, right? He'd already had been being attacked by that same community for not wanting to review Milestone Comics, which if you want people to review, if you want to listen to reviews at Milestone Comics, they are by the thousands on YouTube. Just go look at them. I am all about, like I tell our new independent mentees and our comic book creators, make the stuff you want to see. Make the stuff you enjoy. Rob likes DC Comics. He didn't want to review Milestone for whatever reason. I could care less. I don't know the guy. I could care less. I've got too much going. I could care less. So he reviewed The Antagonist again, as he should have, because why would he not? It's a good comic. So yeah, Comic Explained, he posts this video here, and it does a great job. It does a great job. And at the time, we haven't sold physical copies for a while. I have physical copies on hand. I've always had them on hand. I just haven't sold them because we were so far behind on fulfillment for a couple of Kickstarters. And that's just part of what the lesson that I learned in all of this, which a lot of these grifters, these haters talked about, is you know, Godhood Comics grew so fast a couple of years ago that we just did not have the right operations, which is something that we have worked on and since formatted and redefined. And even before all of this happened, we launched the all new Godhood. And this is what the all new Godhood said. And this was launched about 7 months ago, before any of this happened. So we were already aware of these things and working on a lot of things. But I haven't sold physical copies for a long time just because I didn't feel right about selling physical copies. So all of our stuff had been online. And we were working on a new website, restructuring the company, that type of stuff. But yeah, so apparently, you know, they had called out the Kickstarters and this, and, you know, used all of that. You know, they just They went deep. They dug deep, guys. But another thing I like to expose in the Black comics community, so right now, is the hypocrisy. Absolute. It runs deep. It is a boys' club where you have to play ball. So disgusting. It's so disgusting. And I've always been a free thinker. I've always thought outside the box. If everybody's going, I've always been the person that if everybody is going straight, I'm going back. If everybody loves red, I'm gonna love blue. If everybody is playing basketball, I'm gonna go to football. Like, I've always been in opposition. That's just how my mom raised me. I was raised by a single mother here in Atlanta, and she just always raised me to be a free thinker. So that was never going to work with me. I don't like to fit in. My work speaks for itself. And unfortunately, this community has become that, where they are all, it's a cesspool of misery and judgment and self-righteousness. And so even when they're running Kickstarters, or they all need each other's support. They need each other to run successful campaigns. They need each other to push each other's books. They need each other's opinions. They need each other's acceptance to feel a part of that community. And I've never needed that. I've never needed them to back my Kickstarters. I've never needed them to shout me out. My work speaks for itself. Our work, Godhood Comics, has always spoken for itself. It's why you go to my page on Instagram and you don't see my face. You do not see me yapping and talking. It's why I've slacked on content overall, because I don't like to be the face of it. Unfortunately, I realize now you have to be the face of your company. You have to be the face of what you have going on. That's just how the world works right now. Even making this video is uncomfortable. Even putting out that release, that statement, it's just like, but yeah, that's the hypocrisy of it. Because there was a guy a couple of weeks ago. Again, this is a no names video. If you want to know any of the names or anybody that I'm talking about, please just send me a private message, either email, DM, and I will tell you. We're not protecting anybody. But there was a guy. He and I have no skin in this game, because the guy I'm talking about, whose side I'm on, he was a Godhood Comics detractor who thought we were MAGA and completely blocked me and turned his back on us, but was a supporter. He's a huge supporter of indie comic books. He's always been a huge supporter. He called out another creator because this creator did not get his Kickstarter rewards from this other creator. This creator is big on TikTok. This creator is big in the community. He's a boys. The community loves him. But he was slacking on fulfilling this guy's rewards. But the guy was upset because this guy was selling the physical copies that he was waiting for, which is what we don't do, right? I don't sell physical copies because I have back orders to fulfill. So if someone says, hey, I want to buy this book, well, you can't get it because I have this guy waiting. But this guy wasn't thinking like that. And so he was going on ahead and selling his stuff on TikTok, selling his stuff all over the place, which I agree with. I understand you have to do what you got to do. You got to make the money. The thing is, people understand this is a business. You have to run it like a business, even if you're slacking in areas. So I don't think personally, I don't think it's a good idea for me not to be selling physical copies while people are waiting, but that's just my personal conscience. But anyways, this guy was still selling his books online, and the guy had not gotten his rewards. He called him out. He called him out on Facebook, which, by the way, is the same thing that all these guys have done, right? And what they do, they don't do it first, because if this was a legit cancellation, this was happened 2 years ago when they found out I wasn't voting for Kamala. It could have been happening. It hasn't happened. I had to find these out. And not only that, but all these people were still following me. Still my friends on Facebook, still following me on Instagram, still following my personal private social media pages. Like, these guys were still following me. I had to do a mass unfollowing, and I had to do a mass unfriending, where I had to actually remove these people. Had to block people, remove them for friends, unfriend them. Like, I had to go this. What we call in the Christian community, which we'll talk about my faith later on, is these guys were monitoring spirits. That's all they were there for. They were just there to literally monitor what I was doing. So I had to do, for me to be this horrible Trump MAGA supporter, they all were following me still. But anyway, so this guy calls this guy out. He calls this guy out, and the community, the same community who would bash me for being behind on my Kickstarter, they said this other guy was okay. You're not going to talk about this guy. He's our friend. You're not going to spread this slander. It's fine that it's fine that he is late on his Kickstarter. That's okay because we like him. And they went in on this guy. They went in on this guy, and I reached out to the guy who still, you know, he's the one of the few that I have respect for in the community. And I reached out to him. I said, hey man, you need to tell your friends to slow down here, because they're coming after him for him legitimately calling you out on something that you did. And the guy agreed, and he also released a statement, and he said, hey, I have been slacking. I think that is important. This stuff, making comics, especially at the level that some of us make it, it can get out of hand really fast if you don't have the proper implementations and the proper operations. I always say that. It's supply and demand, and it can get out of hand really quick if you are not there to meet the needs of your customers. And that's where we have slacked a lot at. And I can say that wholeheartedly. But so, yeah, that's the hypocrisy of it. Also, if I wanted to, I could name 5 other prominent Black comic creators who haven't fulfilled their Kickstarters in years. One 4 years, one 10 years. And this is a prominent Black comic book artist that, oh my God, you think about Black comic artist, his name come up. A couple of my family members backed his campaign 10 years ago, and they haven't gotten a book. Refunds were supposed to be sent out. Those refunds hadn't sent out, and all this stuff is online, but no one has called it out. No one has said anything. So it's all of this is performative. This fake, oh, Black comics activism, it's all fake. It's all performative. None of these guys actually contribute anything tangible to the Black comics community or to the Black community in general. They're not at schools volunteering. I was a teacher at a Title I school here in Atlanta for 10 years. I asked several of these guys who live in Atlanta to come. None of them ever came. I extended invitations. And when Godhood was at its height, I even offered people to fly them here, to help us with book fairs, to help us talk. None of them ever do it. So they never do any of that stuff. They never donate money. They don't donate money to the causes that they support. It's all online because they want the accolades. They want to make a post that seems self-righteous, that seems like they are on the right side of history, just to get the likes and the shares. It's all performative. It's hell. All right. So let's get into that. So we are going to start, like we said. So Rob makes his video. It's a good video. Godhood interest has peaked. Our digital sales go crazy. If you don't believe me, this happened in April. Here are our sales for the month of April. Noted. Those are our sales for the month of April, mind you. Take a look. And most of that is digital. Nearly all of that is digital. So for the sake of time, we'll call this guy, I'll call him Lil Man. So Lil Man gets a whiff of this. He knows Rob is under heat for not wanting to do Milestone Comics. Lil Man sees all of this. Now, I never knew Lil Man had a problem with me up until this point. Now, mind you, Lil Man I always known, and I call him Lil Man because we got invited to the Afro Animation Summit as a speaker, of course. I got invited to speak on Black comics and adapting comics to animation. And this guy is there. Look him in the eye. Doesn't have that same energy that he had online. It's like 5'5". So I understand why he's angry. 5'5", super bald head, which is another thing. It was a ball apocalypse. Like I called it the ball apocalypse. Me and my colleagues, we were just laughing because it was like 3 guys. They were all bald with nose septums and piercings. Like it's those guys that were spearheading this, which we'll get into. But I see this guy. I see Lil Man at the Afro Animation Summit. He doesn't say anything to me. In fact, it's funny because a friend sent me one of his posts because I blocked him. A friend sent me one of his posts where he was saying that Carl Jones had come up to him and asked him what his comic book was. And so the guy I was there with was like, that ain't true at all, because we saw this guy. I know Carl Jones personally. Carl Jones, co-creator of Boondocks. He has been a close friend to Godhood Comics. He and his wife and Marshall Blueberry have been friends of Godhood Comics for a while. He's always liked my work. I know him personally. I didn't have to post a picture that I took with Carl Jones because I know Carl Jones. So it's funny because Lil Man, and it gets in all the way in the back of the line. And you got like 40 people in line waiting to meet Carl Jones, and I'm here, me and my friend over there talking to the wife, just kind of catching up, and little man's all the way in the back, and we watch as little man, we give Carl his space, we know people want to meet him, people want to take pictures with him, but little man's always in the back, and then he comes up, shows him his shirt, hands him his book, they talk for him, he's talking his ear off, they take their pictures, and then he posts that Carl Jones walks up to him and say, hey, what's that? Like, I mean, it's just so performative, it's so false, such a lie. So yeah, little man sees that Comics Explained wrote a thing about the antagonist, did a review about the antagonist and not his books. And so, he was upset and wrote this post. Rob is doing MAGA comics. But that's not even the worst of it. This is short man syndrome. This is hater. I understand. I forgive him. I understand. Like I'm not upset with this guy at all. I was, and I'll tell you why. But this is just what's on brand for him and what's on brand for these guys. These, we're black. Oh yeah, and you're not black. This is just what's on brand for them. What really was the horrid thing in this was how stupid people are. When I tell you we got so many comments just out of nowhere, MAGA, yeah, but he's a MAGA Trump supporter, for people who just took it online, saw one post online and just ran with it. Only 2 people, and now one of us is a close friend that I'm working with on a project. Only 2 people had the guts to DM and say, hey man, they're saying you're MAGA. I kind of want to know from you what your side of the hat is. Like, is this true? Like, to explain to me why they think you're MAGA. 2 people out of we were getting hundreds of comments because we're Godhood Comics. And I knew they couldn't stop our shine. But it did. People were really stupid people. I mean, these people are fucking stupid, dumb. Guys, when I tell you we're getting stupider as a society, for me, again, as a part of the Common Sense Party, anything I hear online, any accusation, anything, I double my research. My mom always taught me that when you come to a conclusion, you look for 10 reasons why something is true and 10 reasons why it's not true. And your allegiance should be to the 10 reasons why it's not true, because there is where you're going to find truth. Somewhere right there. And so I was just appalled by the idiocracy where, I've seen it on social media, so it must be true. I mean, it was bad, guys. It was bad. And these are from old motherfuckers. Even Little Man and his people. These guys are old. These are 40, they're 40 years old and up. When I tell you not one comment came from somebody my age, 30 and under, 25, our teen fans, our young adult fans, this was all niggas in their 40 and 50. And I say niggas because that's what it was. It was niggas. This wasn't black people. This wasn't black community. These were straight niggas. White liberal loving niggas. These was niggas, man. I'm telling you. And so we did a mass blocking and a mass. It was insane. It was insane. But at the same time, for every comment we got a sale. I ain't even lying to you. We got a sale. Because Rob did 2 videos. Rob's videos was still working. And mind you guys, we still, we do well in the digital area. I saw somebody say that people are sleeping on digital comics. Everybody wants physical comics, duh, but you should be selling your books online as well. Because if somebody really wants to read it, they're going to read it on however they can get their hands on it. And most of the time you can double the sale, because people who read the digital comics, they're going to come back once the physical comics are available. But that's neither here nor there. So after Lil Man posts that, we start getting the comments. Then I see, again, guys, I am not huge on influencers or social media. So I don't know a lot, and maybe I should, but I don't know a lot of the comic book influencer. I know a few of them who are personal friends and who've worked with Godhood, but I don't know a lot of them. And so one of these guys makes a video, And he, who has been obsessed with Rob for years, uses this because these are performative people. They have to use cloud. They have to use their they are consumer based. They make their money on YouTube. They make their money making videos. So I understand it. I get it. So he uses Rob. This is his latest attack on Rob. So he uses the video and what he sees that little man posted to do an entire video. I mean, horrible, slanderous allegations. Things that I'm like, who is telling you this type of stuff? And also things that I know he has gotten from people who are either those monitoring spirits or who do know me personally. One of the things, and we're going to address this because Lil Man also made a Godhood Comics thing. Now that's one of the words that I was coon. They called me a coon, which to them is just a black person who doesn't agree with their politics or doesn't agree with them 100%. That's what a coon is for them. The name has just the words have no meaning nowadays, obviously, because they say I'm a grifter. Well, if you're a grifter and you are trying to make money in a niche of a niche, so comic books is already a niche. Black comics is even a greater niche. If you want to make money, and I'm talking about real money for a living, you don't do it by making black comics. That isn't the way to go. In fact, you should do it the opposite way. You should try to become what you're not and sell to all the white guys that would buy your you should sell to all the racist white guys. That's an even bigger niche. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars, my time, my love life, my family, trying to build the Black comics community. My mental health, my physical health. Over the past 15 years, we've invested so much. My God. So for this to just be me grifting, for this to be just me wanting to make money, for this to be Godhood Comics, I'm not a smart guy. If you're gonna do fraud, comics is not the place to do it. And I'm in Atlanta. This is not the place to do it. And more importantly, the crazy part about all of this were colleagues and friends who stood by in silence. Who would DM me privately and say, yeah, little man that's how he is. I've had some problems with him. Or I'd say, so why are you not taking up for me? Well, man, we can't, I can't take the heat. Godhood can take the heat. We can't, I really can't, I can't have these guys mad at me. Over three to four people sent those DMs. I've got your back, man, but we just can't say anything about this right now. You're too hot. You're too on fire. Also had a booking for Free Comic Book Day where the guy, there's a comic book company, Black-owned comic book shop here in Atlanta, who personally invited me to speak at Free Comic Book Day about a couple of weeks ago. And I'm like, hey, this is me, right? Under all the heat, you're asking me. He's like, oh no, I don't care about any of that. Come on. Then I don't hear from him. I say, hey, are we still on? He's like, hey, I can't have you here now. You're still on fire. A lot of the guys, they don't want you here. I'm like, okay, right? So what it also exposed is this cowardice where you're either with us or we're going to turn our backs on you. And a lot of comic book creators that I have platformed, showcased, invested in financially, professionally, educationally, went dead silent. They completely turned their backs on me and Godhood. And when I tell you one in particular, mind you, a lot of these guys, when we were doing the Godhood Comics Schoolhouse Initiative, which we'll do again, a lot of these guys were in our class. And one in particularly, Godhood put so much resource behind. I mean, we platformed this guy. I changed this guy's whole perspective on what it was to make Black comics, high quality comics. And he said it before. And these guys went silent. I mean, there were nobody making posts in our defense. No one, because they were afraid to get the same backlash that we had gotten. They didn't want to be connected to somebody who is being accused of MAGA. They know I'm not MAGA, but they didn't want to be affiliated with the cancellation of Godhood Comics. And so they turned their back. They went dead silent. These are guys that we openly supported. I mean, we that their connections were the connections that we gave them. Multiple people, multiple creators. The people that they're working with now, the books they're publishing now, I mean, the artists they're working with, it all came from Godhood's foundation. It all came from Godhood. These people went dead silent. Which again, I get it. They had to stay face because they want to fit into this Black comic community boys club. I don't. I never cared to. I never had to. I never had to. So when you don't have to fit in, when you don't want to, you know, you kind of take the risk of being shunned. They did it to Black Sands. They did it to 2 people on each side. So if you're too Black, you get the Black Sands treatment. Black Sands was super pro-Black, more pro-Black than them. Super pro-Black. So Black Sands was on this side of it. And they said, we can't mess with you. And they when you're talking about Black indie comics, they'll leave Black Sands out of the conversation. And I'm quick to say, I may not agree with Manny all the way, and I may not like the way he does things certain times, but I will never have a conversation about, if you go to my comments actively, I will never have a conversation about Black comics and not mention Black Sands. Because if you want to talk about financial aptitude, he hit the mark. If you want to talk about building a fan base and an audience, he hit the mark. If you want to talk about high quality printing or publication or artwork, he hit the mark. But that ain't Black comics. That's too Black. You got on the other side of them where you got Eric July. And shout out to Eric July. The reason why I know about this that we talked about is this toxic tribalistic hive mind. I have called out the Black comics hive mind. I've called out the Black hive mind in general. But the reason why I know it exists is because I was a part of it. When Eric July, the Ripperverse, first came out, I didn't know anything about him, didn't hear anything about him, but they were saying that he was a Trump supporter. They were saying he was MAGA. And I, just like the stupid people who did the same thing to me. And so this happened to me for a reason, because I did it to Eric July. I said, what? So we made a post saying Eric July was MAGA and that he was a coon and all this other stuff. So I was a part of that toxic tribalistic hive mind where it didn't verify anything. And so the apology has to be as loud as the accusation. And I have personally apologized to Eric, who went to bat for us and who made a video about the video that was made about us. And he really, really helped me understand what was going on. I did it to him. And so it being done to me, it was a full circle moment. It was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. And that's why this video is called The Great Escape, because that weight is lifted. I don't have to play ball with these guys. I don't have to, you know, my work speaks for itself. I don't have to be into this hive mind anymore. And so where Black Sands is right here, Eric July is on the other side. Now he makes Black comics. He's got Black characters. You look at his artwork, he's got Black characters. It ain't Black enough for him. He's on the other side. Black Sands is too Black. Eric July ain't Black enough. And so you have to find this guideline where their guideline is, oh, we need Black, Democratic, leftist, liberal. That's what we need. You want to fit in with us, you have to be these things. And as I said in the statement, really this wasn't an attack on my politics. It was an attack on my faith. It was an attack on my faith in Jesus Christ. And it's that faith is why I don't align with either party. And I'll leave it at that. My values in the Bible, my values in Christ don't align with either party. Point blank, period. Now, or let me say, don't align with either candidate that we had the last election. If there is ever a candidate that aligns with my my 2 principles, where Black people first and my faith, who knows? A lot of the people who are all these pro-black guys making videos about me being MAGA, these people are married to white people. They the one tangible thing that you should be doing in the black community, procreating, expanding your race, expanding your genes, creating more black people, they're not doing that. So for them, it's a performative act. It's performative. It's social media. Yeah, a lot of the guys dating white, I mean, just, bleh. And then you look at Eric July and you look at Rob, who are accused of being coons. You look at me, who's obsessed with black. I can't even look at another race. God has wired into me the love of a black woman. I need me a nice, beautiful black woman. Chocolate. We're the coons. But these other guys, they married to white women. They dating white women. It just doesn't make any sense. It's all hypocritical. It's this toxic, tribalistic hive mind. And I always tell guys, we mentor a lot of creators. I'm a mentor to a lot of content creators, whether they will tell you or not. And I tell them, stay away. And I made a post about it. And one of the colleagues say, hey man, you came after the OGs, you came after the OGs. So it's going to be tough for you. And he was right. I don't know what the fuck OG is, but a lot of these guys, they're 45, they're 50, they don't see, they're just making comics. They don't see it. I never got into comic books to just die broke. Like if I was going to do something, whatever it was, making comics, I was passionate about it. I don't care if I opened a smoothie bar. I had 2 smoothie bars. We've got one now. I had 2 smoothie bars in Atlanta. I opened a smoothie. Whatever I do, we're going to do it at a high quality, and I'm going to try to make money. This is why you have to watch my video. Comic creator versus comicpreneur. I'm a comicpreneur. Stranger Comics is a comicpreneur. Concrete Comics is a comicpreneur. Black Sands is a comicpreneur. A lot of these guys are comic creators. They have no financial aptitude. They don't plan on making a lot of money. They don't plan on making profit. And it's hard. It's a hard game when you're in the creative space as a business. It's very hard because there's a line between creative and business. And if you don't understand the balance, it will bite you in the ass, and it has bit me in the ass several of times. So, it's just the whole experience opened up. It was just eye-opening for me. It was so eye-opening for me. And it also strengthened my resolve and revealed something that another thing that I had long exposed, and that is the lack of escapism in Black comics. I mean, I kid you not. There is a guy right now who is pushing a comic book about a superhero fighting hooded KKK members. Now, I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. My mom is from Pulaski, Tennessee. If you know anything about Pulaski, Tennessee, that was where the KKK was founded. And in all of my years visiting Pulaski, growing up in Pulaski, I ain't never seen a motherfucker in a white hood. And I can promise you, they ain't running around in white hoods in the dozen like this guy portrayed in his comic, and you got to punch him in the face. And so a lot of Black comics and Black content and Black IP in general is so portrayed, it's so keen on portraying our traumas. What do you have? You have, them fighting police officers. You have them fighting the KKK members. Or slavery. That's what you get. Which is why they were upset with Black Sands. Black Sands like, I'm not producing anything that shows slavery because Black people have a history before slavery. But these guys, they love racism. They need this stuff to sell, but I'm the grifter. So what do you do when you open up the average Black comic book? Well, there's slavery, there's police brutality, there's some form of racism, there's some form of something, because they know that Black viewers, Black readers, Black people in general, they hear racism and they're either ready to not spend money or to spend money. And so what this revealed to me was that it's the level that Godhood Comics has always wanted to just make great comic books with Black people on the cover. That's it. And we have many titles. And only one really kind of delves into that reality, because that is the reality. And I understand putting your experience in your work. But a lot of the things that these guys are putting in isn't their experience. They're grifting. They assume it's yours, and so they want to sell to you, and that's not the case. And so this showed me that Godhood Comics has got to get back to the basics of making good comics and escapism. It's why we don't have a black Harry Potter. It's why we can't have a black Avatar. It's why we can't have a black Dragon Ball Z. It's why we can't have a black Star Wars. It's why we can't have any of these large IPs in black forms, because we're anti-escapism. We have to put all of our traumas in all these things. You can't have a black Harry Potter without addressing racism. Why? Why can the single woman indulge in content about women in love and it has nothing to do with her reality, but we can't? Why can the blue collar worker who works 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, read and engage in content about the lawless billionaire, playboy billionaire who doesn't give a crap, completely anti his experience and his reality? Why does everybody indulge in escapism than us, but us? And so that is what we are going to get back to. That is our resolve. That is my lesson in all of this, that Godhood Comic was always built to produce high quality comics about black people. I always said the point of cancer research is to end cancer research. The point of cancer research should be to the point where you find a cure, and so you no longer need cancer research. And my goal is to produce great black comic books to the point where it's not a niche. It's normal. It's normal that you open a black comic book and that you open a comic book and you see a black comic book character. It's normal that you go into a theater and it's a black movie. The point of making black comics is to no longer need to emphasize that they're black comics. And that is our resolve now, because you're going to see it. You're going to see it's going to be so normal. Another thing this has taught me is that you have to put your customer first. You have to fulfill your campaigns, guys. We got so backed up because a lot of people think with Godhood Comics and other large publishers, there's a room full of 6 people. And maybe with Stranger Comics is are, because Seb and those guys, they're doing it. But at Godhood, it's just me. It's me shipping. It's me fulfilling. It's me emailing. It's me DMing. It's me promoting. It's me marketing. And that's the reality for a lot of people who have missed the marks on their campaigns. And so that is my advice. Make sure you have your budget. Make sure you have all your ducks in a row. So far I myself have had to fill over 450 back orders. Still got about 250 to go. This is from 2 Kickstarter campaigns. So that part was a wake-up call. Them calling that out, that completely was a wake-up call. And we've reached out to our community and our customers, and we make updates, and these guys know that it's with all good intention. It wasn't painted like it was painted, where it's like, give me your money. No, we produced a full 7-page, 218-page trade paperback in 2 years. Unheard of. And that cost money, and we still didn't raise enough, because the rest of that had to come out of my pocket. You do the math. 7 issues, $5 to $7K an issue, before colors, before publishing. And you tell me if the $25K we raised was enough. So a lot of this is anticlimactic. A lot of this is out of context. And that is because this is what they do. If something is hot, people are going to latch on. And so I am going to start making more videos. I am going to start engaging more with our audience and fans. I am going to bring back our YouTube. We're going to be making we're going to be dropping 2 YouTube videos a week, and live streaming once a week. We are going to be back in full force, talking about and then we're going to bring back the Schoolhouse Initiative, because I have an educational background. I was a high school teacher for 10 years. I left, retired, took out my 401k, and invested in and started Godhood Comics. Me. And that love for education never left me. So I always enjoy teaching people how to make comic books, how to create comic books. And so we're going to bring back the Godhood Schoolhouse Initiative because I think that's super important. I mean, that has platformed and helped so some of our alumni, a few of our alumni went on to found 3 reputable Black comic book brands. And one of them, he had been a successful alumni from the Milestone Initiative. All these guys came from the Godhood Comic Schoolhouse Initiative. You need them, and if they deny it, boom, we've got the classes downloaded. We've got the screenshots downloaded. There's so many people we could have called out in all of this for their lack of support and for what I've done for them and for what Godhood Comics has done for them. There's so many people who didn't speak out about one of the things that just came off the wall where we're asking for money. One of the bald head guys with the septum, I don't know where he was. I had never met this guy, so I don't know where this guy was getting his information from. I had never met this nigga in my life. Didn't know he existed until somebody sent me the video. He's got a huge following. He was saying things, I mean, all types of things. I'm like, nigga, where are you getting your information? One of them, I asked somebody for $1 million. Let me tell you something. If I knew somebody with $1 million and they saw my work, I would have had $1 million. In fact, it was David Crownsing of Kingwood Comics who said, you are asking for too little on your investments. You're giving away too much and you're asking for too little. We're going to work on a project together. And he said, you're asking for it. That guy changed my perspective on the value of IP. That's why I feel so strongly about IP. That's why we say all the time, he who holds the power holds the IP. Because you want to talk about me? Oh, no. I wasn't asking for enough with my investors. You need investors, guys, if you're going to compete at a high level. You know this stuff takes money. Before I took an investment, I had invested over $100,000 of my own money on a teacher's salary into Godhood Comics. And we're still going. We're still going. There's no end in sight because I told everybody that I'm involved with that this is a hill I'm going to die on, and they know it. They know that when I die, when God takes me from this world, whether it be today, tomorrow, or in 20 years, I would have died making comics. The same day I die, you can go to my personal Instagram page or our Godhood Comics page, and we would have posted not even a week ago. We'll be making comics. And so to any of you haters that are watching this, I forgive you. I do. I feel sorry for you. I hope your great escape is coming. I hope that you've learned your lessons. I hope that you start focusing on increasing your work quality and that you learn that Black people, Black culture, it's not a monolith. There are millions of Black people all over the world, and certainly all across the United States, who don't adhere to the same way of thinking that you do, who don't align with the Democratic Party. That doesn't make them any less Black, and it certainly doesn't make them a coon or an Uncle Tom. Truth matters. Education matters, whether you hate it or not, whether you want to believe something or not. And I also learned that people are going to believe whatever they want to believe about you, whether it's true or not. And so you got to let them. It's not your job to convince everybody that you're something that you're not. It's not my job. And that's why I stayed so silent for so long. I mean, guys, I wasn't saying anything. And my fellow comic book critics like, Ty, you got to say something. I'm like, I just don't care enough to convince somebody that I'm not MAGA. If a nigga spends his entire livelihood putting into comic books, platforming Black comic book creators, platforming Black characters, and I got to convince you that I have to convince you that I'm MAGA after everything I've done for Black people and the Black community, Black kids, after everything I have done, if I got to convince you that, I ain't wasting my time because you stupid. And that's what this is. That's why I'll never make another video like this. I ain't never addressing this shit again because it's crazy. It's crazy. It was absolutely crazy. Where I got to say, no, I'm not MAGA, to a bunch of old ass niggas. Gray haired niggas I'm talking about. These niggas, I'm talking about gray haired niggas, bro. And I'm glad I can be myself. I'm glad I can talk like this. I'm glad I can talk about where I'm from. Because none of these niggas would have that same energy. Just like Lil Man didn't have that same energy. Lil Man didn't have that energy at. You think Lil Man was coming up to me at the Afro animation sometime? I said, yeah, MAGA. Yeah. You think he was saying that? Hell no. And none of these niggas would. Godhood, we've never had to do conventions. I've never had to do conventions. I hate conventions. I probably in 15 years, I probably did 3 conventions because I hate them. When I leave a convention, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, and my mouth is stuck smiling. I've never liked conventions. And then we never had to. We've done well on Kickstarter. Even when we were fulfilling campaigns, we've done well on Kickstarter. We did well on digital sales. Don't sleep on digital sales if you're a new comic creator. So I never had to do conventions, but I'm going to start doing conventions because I want to be in some of the rooms with these guys. I want to see some of their faces, and I want them to have that same energy. But I also want to get back to the basics of comic books. I want to meet my fans. I want to shake hands. I want to get back to the foundation of Godhood, which was inspiring new and old comic book creators to produce high quality comic books. So that's what we're going to do. Guys, make sure that if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and like our Facebook page. Go ahead and subscribe to our mailing list. We've got an 8K mailing list and we're growing it. Subscribe to the mailing list so you can be the first to be in the know. I always say turn on post notifications, subscribe to the mailing list. Be the first to be in the know where it comes to fulfillment, updates, whatever the case is. You want to know about it first. You can join our broadcasting channel on Instagram as well. And also, guys, going to help out. Making comic books costs money. If you want to join our Patreon, you can go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon at any tier. Get the comics for free. We just dropped Street Nights, and so everybody on our Patreon got Street Nights first. But stay tuned, and go to your local Black comic book shop. Go to your local Black comic book store. Support Black comic book shops. Support Black comics in general because they need your help, they need your time, and they need your attention. But also, I want you to be a free thinker. I want you to know that you can do anything you put your mind to, and no one can stop you, regardless of their slander, regardless of their allegations, and regardless of their self-righteous performative bullshit, because that's all it is. None of these guys actually are walking around their day-to-day saying or doing the things that they spew online. It's all to get attention. It's all to jockstrap the next creator. It's all performative. I can't tell you how performative it is. It's biased, it's hypocritical, and it's disgusting. And I'm so glad to be in this space where I'm like, I don't give a damn. We're going to do what we want to do. I'm going to make the comics I want to make. I'm going to talk how I want to talk. And if you got a problem with it, go somewhere else. If you want Black comics by these guys, go get it. No problem. But what we're not going to do is stay silent. What we're not going to do is continue to let these things happen and go unanswered. There will be a response. As we said in the statement, there will be a response. And this will be the last video where I'm not calling you out or I'm not naming names. You say something, you get a response if it's necessary. But yes, guys, go in peace. Be blessed. Make sure you, again, are subscribed. We got we're going to do a video this week about what's coming from Godhood Comics, a bunch of books in production. Apparently, we're also very broke. So the fact that I have 8 books in production and I'm paying all these artists, I don't know how that works. But hey, if they said it, it must be true. But yes, stay tuned, guys. And I appreciate you watching this video. And as always, guys, keep reading comics, and more importantly, keep making comics. We're gone.
But he was right about one thing. I am that one nigga in 10,000.
Rents came in, I was still in it.